Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct tonight. How's everybody doing out there? Hope y'all are doing fine, like good wine in the summertime. Yeah, buddy. We're just over here doing our thing, trying to sing and just make it ring. Let's see if I can get this other camera to work over here. Looks like it does not want to work today. Okay, it's got a problem. I don't know what the problem is, but it don't want to work. Well, that's odd. Okay, well, I just let that play like it is, since it's not going to do anything else for me. Oh, let me try this. Let's see about that. Maybe that'll do it. Nope, tried that too. That didn't work either, huh? Odd. Oh, I know. Yeah, I got one market. No, I can't try that either, huh? Okay, so it's just not going to work at all. How odd. Let's see. Try it this way. Nope. Oh, well. So much for that. Let's go ahead and move on. We've got our proverb for today. Proverb for today is, a wise man who knows his proverbs can reconcile difficulties. A wise man who knows his proverbs can reconcile difficulties. And that is a proverb from the country of Niger. All right, so as you know, we're reading from book 1, or March, book 1, reading from the book March, book 1, which is all about John Lewis and his years that he devoted to fighting for civil rights here in the USA. Okay, and so it starts off with him out in rural Alabama, in Pike County, Alabama, and we continue to follow his story as he begins to move in other realms, in more urban environments, etc. And here we go. So let's flip the page here. Go to the next page. Boom. There we go. All right, so he's going on a trip with his uncle Otis. And his uncle is taking this trip especially for him, to just let him see some other parts of the world that he's never seen before. By the time we reached Lake Erie, that's Cleveland, Ohio, I know where they at now, and turned west toward Buffalo, probably on Euclid Avenue, I was about ready to burst with excitement. I was not disappointed. Arriving in Buffalo after 17 hours of travel was an otherworldly experience. It was so busy, almost frantic. When we reached my Uncle OC's and Dink's house, I couldn't believe it. They had white people living next door to them. On both sides. Imagine that. Yeah, because most times when you move into a neighborhood like that, they call it block busting. And white folks get it scattered up out of there like roaches when you turn the lights on. My Aunt Leola and Aunt May Charles, took me shopping downtown one day at a department store called Sattler's. There, for the first time in my life, I rode an escalator. I had never even heard of such a thing before. I found my way to the candy counter, and it was like magic. I tried to make that bag of Neapolitan candy last forever. Another time, we went to the outdoor market, and I watched my Aunt Leola shop for a chicken. Oh, no. She's shopping for chickens. City people didn't raise their own chickens. they did what my aunt did. I want that one. Now you got to imagine, this is back in the day when you could go to the store and buy chickens live on the hoof. That's right. You could go to the store and buy yourself a live chicken. Now my grandfather used to do that, and he'd take them out in the backyard, boom, 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 bring that neck, oh yeah, and then dump them and put them in that pot of hot boiling water, just like they talk about in this book. I seen my grandpa do that. Yes, I did, right here in Cleveland, Ohio. That amazed me. It was so different from back home. I wasn't even bothered by the fate of these chickens. Maybe the fact that I didn't know them had something to do with it. I don't know. I do know that I had no problem cleaning my plate that evening. Oh yeah, that chicken got good to him. By late August, when it was time to return, wait a minute, went too far. There you go. By late August, when it was time to return to Alabama, I was more than ready. And there they go, down the road, headed down south. I missed my brothers and sisters. I missed my parents. When I finally arrived home, I was crying because it felt so good to be back. Thank you, Uncle Otis, for taking me to the city. Thank you so much. After that trip, home never felt the same, and neither did I. In the fall, I started riding the bus to school, which should have been fun, but it was just another sad reminder of how different our lives were from those of white children. Yep, that's right, how different those lives were. The county didn't bother paving roads in the quote-unquote colored neighborhoods. This is back when people of color meant black. I might have mentioned that before, but I'll mention it again. Unless it was necessary for white traffic to pass through, then they'd pave the road. Otherwise, it was sheer dirt roads. And you know how they get when they get wet? Knee deep, sucking up that mud. Our bus itself was an old hand-me-down, just like our school books, old hand-me-downs. I realized how old it was when we finally climbed onto the paved highway, the main road running east from Troy, and passed the white children's buses. We passed their schoolhouses as well, with nice playground equipment outside, nothing like our cluster of small cinder block buildings with a dirt field out back for recess. We drove past prison work gangs almost every day, and the prisoners were always, all of them were black. As were the folks working in the fields beyond them. You couldn't help but notice. Despite everything that confronted me on the way to school, I was in heaven once I stepped inside it. I loved going to the library. It was the first time I ever saw black newspapers and magazines like Jet, Ebony, the Baltimore Afro-American, or the Chicago Defender. And I'll never forget my librarian, Corrine Harvey. My dear children, read. Read everything. Just read. Boy, I bet he really was encouraged to read. He had somebody as pretty as her encouraging him. But sometimes going to school was a luxury my family couldn't afford. When planting and harvest seasons arrived, the reality of those fields displaced any dreams about the future. I'd plead with them to let me go. I'd explain how far behind I'd fall if I missed those days of class work. We need you here, Bob. And so I'd hide. I would get up and eat breakfast like normal as others made their way to the fields and the day's work. I would slip away. Bob, where are you, boy? Bob, where you be? And then you see his mama's feet. He's looking at his mama's feet because he's hiding up under the house. In those days, they had the house would be built up on top of cinder blocks. So there was a crawl space underneath the house. And so he's up under the house and he can see his mama's feet. And then he can hear the school bus taking off. Then, when I could hear the approaching bus, I'd dash out and climb on and be off. When I got home, my father would be furious. I was certain he'd tan my hide. Never do it again. But he never did whip me, not over that. I did it again, and of course he would scold me again. But deep inside, I think he knew there was no stopping me. I was going to school. This was a life decision I had made, and it was near impossible to turn me away from it. One morning in 1954, near the end of my freshman year of high school, I read a headline that just turned my world all the way upside down. The U.S. Supreme Court had handed down its decision in the school desegregation case of Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas. That's right, Topeka, Kansas. Segregation in schools outlawed, read the headline. The doctrine of separate but equal was dead on arrival. The entire institution of segregation was based on separate but equal, but the Supreme Court had ruled it unconstitutional. I was so excited, surely everything was going to change. I thought that come fall, I'd be riding a state-of-the-art bus to a state-of-the-art school, an integrated school. Yeah, I was going to go to that other school with the nice playground equipment and everything. Not everybody was so excited. Don't get in trouble, his mom says. Don't you get in the way, mother tells him. But my parents' attitude didn't bother me nearly as much as those among the ministers at the church who never even mentioned these injustices in their sermons. They must have thought they was preaching to some chickens. It did not escape my notice that our minister always departed church in a very nice automobile. Then one Sunday morning, early in the year 1955, I was listening to WRMA out of Montgomery when I heard a sermon of someone unknown to me. Well, I think the Negro needs to stand up and be counted. It's about time. The Supreme Court has already ruled on this. We need to go ahead and do our part now. It's up to us. A young preacher from Atlanta. I didn't catch his name until the very end. Thank you. And again, you just heard Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Coming up next, we've got a real treat for you on this Sunday. Coming up next. Dr. King's message hit me like a bolt of lightning. He applied the principles of the church to what was happening right now, today. It was called the social gospel. And I felt like he was preaching directly to me, like I was the only chicken in the barnyard. I went to the school library on Monday to find out everything I could about this man. At the time, I could only find one newspaper article, but 1955 was a watershed year. Dr. Martin Luther King, it says in the article, was a graduate of Morehouse College in Atlanta, GA. and was appointed resident pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. In May, a second Supreme Court ruling in Brown versus Board prompted segregationist elected officials like Senators James Eastland of Mississippi and Strom Thurmond of South Carolina to swear to the death their continued defiance of the court. Lines were drawn in the sand. That's right, they drew the Rubicon right there in the sand with their finger. Blood was beginning to spill. Blood was beginning to spill. So that's what you see in that last picture. That's not a barbecue pit. That's a coffin with a mama crying over it. So we're going to end right there. And we'll come back tomorrow with more from the story of John Lewis's involvement, how he got involved with the civil rights struggle as told in the book March, book 1. Okay, so these are the early years here. March, book 1. It's reading pretty well. I like the writing on it. Seems like it's pretty, it moves along. I like the way the story moves along. I hope you're enjoying it too. It's my first time reading it, and maybe it's your first time hearing it. So that makes 2 firsts. 1 first for you and 1 first for me. And right now, I want y'all to do something, all you little children out there, to do something that's definitely not a first. But it is something that you right about now, you should have a thirst for. And that is to lay down your little head on your little pillow, on your little bed, and close those your eyes. Wait for that big old sun to rise, and when you feel it, sunbeams beaming down on your eyes, know that it's time for you to do more than just rhyme. It'll be time for you to go ahead and rise and shine. Go ahead and rise and shine just like a ray of sunshine. That's what you need to be like in the morning. But right now, it's dark. So close those eyes and get some rest. That way, when you get up, you'll be at your best. And in the meantime, for all you adults out there, you know what to do. Give us a like. If you're seeing us on Facebook, give us a thumbs up. If you're seeing us on YouTube, and of course, as always, please, please, please make sure to share what we're doing here over there and over there with all your friends and your family too. Don't make them feel really blue and walk around without a clue. Help them out. Tell them too that they should be watching as well and listening. If they can't watch, then they can always listen. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and sign off. We'll be back tomorrow, continuing on with our story from the autobiography of Malcolm X. We are actually reading the book, The Words Right from the Man, as recorded by his biographer, Alex Haley. So that's what we're going to be reading tomorrow, and we hope you will be joining us then. All you adults out there, we only have 1 children's show and our live stream and 1 adult, but the adults are welcome to listen to both. So tune in and you'll get be able to do a real good comparison between the life of John Lewis and that of Malcolm X. Compare and contrast. You'll be able to compare and contrast their 2 lives. And there are definitely, I think that's definitely a good effort. It will bring about a whole lot of insight into some things that you probably were unaware of. All right. In the meantime, we're gone. We'll be seeing you tomorrow. I see Ernest over there. What's going on, Ernest? How you be this evening? And we're going to go ahead and giddy up, right on up out of here with some more sweet sounds of Mbida.